Great. So yeah, thanks again for the introduction. And Jobs4Docs. Then my title of the talk is Life After PhD. I'll talk a bit about my experiences, what I've been doing so far, and how that all went along. And sorry, I think I'll have to turn this on. Yeah, this works better. Yes, and I remember when I was at this time that I was about to finish my PhD and then looking for option, exploring what to do, I had a lot of questions. Was for me an important point, can I combine my career with my family, because I already had a kid and the second one was on the way. So that's of course an important point. Will this continue working? Then I wasn't so sure about industry. You hear like this kind of stories. Is it like a soulless meat grinder? You have to work like crazy hours and it's like a lot of pressure, or the stories that you hear. And I wasn't so sure if this was gonna work out. And also the simple question, what should I actually apply for with that PhD? And am I qualified for this kind of jobs? And during this talk, I will maybe answer these questions. Also, what was my experience in this field? And I think to start, I will simply say a bit what I've been doing. So, as it already was said, and this is also why I'm standing here, I did a PhD here in the Research Centre. 2013 I graduated. Actually, I graduated 2014, but this was like, how it is. It takes a bit of time until this entire examination thing is publication and so on is done. So I started working in 2013 at Zeiss as a product manager, and that wasn't in the department for glasses or binoculars or microscopes. That is maybe more known, but it was equipment for the semiconductor industry. So this is also a big part of Zeiss, what they do. And I worked there as a product manager, and then I quit my job and joined the Bonn Consulting. This was a company that Tanya, my wife, was founding. She's here in the audience. And the second thing, this is the second project, Fürostov. This is actually a project of Bonn Consulting that we have been working on for quite some time, and now it's the time to present it to the public. Actually, the homepage went online just yesterday, so it's pretty new, everything. We'll talk a bit about that later. And now a bit the curve is then I will start, as soon as possible. Then it's the question, what is possible, as a project manager here in the Research Center on my old institute, PGA 5. And so that will be September, October. So it's at the moment being processed by the human resources, and that just takes a few weeks, until the contract is finished. And then the first question that I can already answer, can I combine career and family? And that's yes, because you see me having a career and a family, that does work. So people have kids, and the thing is, it needs some compromises, needs resourcefulness. So Tanya can tell you a story how she got the kindergarten places here in Jülich after we moved here. So it's not always easy, right? One has to work for it. It doesn't happen by itself, but it definitely can be done. And for me, it's also really an anchor and a stabilizing element. So it's not something that holds people back. I've read that somewhere in like some advice for career or so, you shouldn't have a family or so, but it's like, it's okay, it works. I think it's good. And then maybe I can talk now a bit about my experience in industry, these 2 years at Zeiss. And what I can say, it really depends. The thing is, the biggest single influence is the direct manager. When you get along, when I got along very well with my direct manager, and it's great, it's the best thing ever. Even if the company is up in flames, as long as this relationship is good, it's a good experience. And then the second thing is depends on company culture, how people communicate, how decisions are made, what are the values inside the company. When this is a good match, it's good. And it depends also which industry. There's no such thing as industry, like the car industry and the semiconductor industry are completely different. Semiconductor industry is very risk-friendly, innovations-driven, very fast. And then in the car industry, you have this really slow process. If it didn't work in the field for 10 years, they're not going to use it, this kind of spirit. So it's very different there, the kind of atmosphere. Not that I worked in the car industry, but I know some people who do. And what I generally find is that it's more diverse. There are more different options than in science. So in science, what I experienced, what I saw, it's all about like impact points, publications, getting grants, and that's it, right? You crank up your age index and whatnot, and this is what it's all about. And in an industry career, there are more diverse options. You can go to sales, you can go to operations, you can go to service and maintenance and this kind of things, and it's very different in each field. So my experience was that I could match my talents and what I want to do better with work there. And yeah, better salary is also a nice cherry on top, so just to mention that. Yeah, the second question, is this like a soulless meat grinder? And well, Tanya presented a survey in the last talk, and the result was pretty stunning. Was the question, are you happy? And then asked some people who were a couple of years into their career, some in academia, some in non-academia. And the results are within the statistical variations the same. So it's about 3/4 that are happy, and then 1/4 that is varying degrees of not quite so happy. And just yesterday on Spiegel Online, there was an article that had also this 3/4 figure of people who are happy in the broader population. So the choice itself really doesn't matter. What is good is the feeling to have that choice. So that is something that works. And so is it a soulless meat grinder? Not really, really not. But it doesn't mean it's all bunnies and butterflies also. So it's, it's pretty much the same. Yeah, then the experience as an entrepreneur. This is then the Bonn Consulting and Fuel Stove since 2015. Yeah, what I think many people say is this freedom to decide to just do stuff. Lots of opportunities around. For us, it was really critical to have very clear goals in the process, because with all these opportunities, there are also endless opportunities to shoot yourself in the foot, to end up somewhere where you don't want to be, or make decisions that cost a lot later, this kind of stuff. So there's no one that stops us, so to speak, to do very good things or also very stupid things. So then it's like, has to take charge of that. We had a lot of uncertainty in the process, sometimes not knowing what we would be doing next week, if we would have to move or what to do. So that was sometimes a bit stressy, one has to say. And financial success takes time, if it ever comes. There are enough stories where that never manifested itself. And especially in the beginning, for the most time, it means more work for less money, which is not as bad as it sounds, because we don't always do this, but this is actually us working. You see, I'm also wearing a microphone. We were shooting a marketing video. So that was a bit more the fun part of work. So it's not only like work on the desk or so, but I think I should see there's probably a contact problem here. Okay, if that's okay, if you can live with some static. So I stopped that more work for less money is not such a bad deal when it's really nice work. And it was always our own project, and it's very motivating. And yeah, it's a huge learning experience also, and the growth experience. And for us, it was really this thing that there's no place to hide anymore, right? So there's this like, it's our money, it's our time, our decisions, our problems, and nobody tells us to get up in the morning and do anything. And so then we decide to do that, right? Because we want to do that. And that is, yeah, it's nice. It's really good to work like this. And for us, actually, what we were thinking more and more, this is actually a bit of an alternative to an MBA maybe. I'll put that up for discussion, because the subject areas are very similar. It's more or less the same investment of time and money. And, well, the difference is the results are very much real world, right? It's not filling out questionnaires or passing a test or something, but it's like actually doing it. And, well, in the end, you don't get a certificate, but you have a story to tell. And when things go well, you have a running company. And it's not so bad also. And, yeah, what we're doing now is a bit of a deal of a part-time job, part-time entrepreneur. So far it works well. I mean, it's maybe too early to really call it. In 1 year we will see how that's working out. But it's a good combination to have a stable income and then also freedom to do other stuff on the side that have a tendency to cost money in the beginning and not pay money. And I think it's looking good. And one thing that I want to mention is we are always getting a lot of support from like friends, from family, people we talk to, just sometimes listening or giving an advice or just moral support, and so then, yeah, just for the world, a big thank you for the ongoing support. So this is also a nice part there. It's really like a bit of a spirit there. That is nice. Yeah, let me now talk a bit about what we actually do with Bond Consulting. You see the corporate design all over the slides, so now I can talk a bit about that. One thing that emerged as a field of business, so we spent quite some time after the first year to just figure out what actually works and what doesn't. One thing that works is coaching and consulting for startups with a high-tech background. So this is a bit related, especially to the work that I was doing before at Zeiss, working as a product manager. Finding a fit between what the market needs, what the customers, what kind of problems they have at the moment, and the capabilities of the technology, where things can be developed, where's a match, and this sort of things. Then there are many techniques that help finding this. This is relatively easy to learn. I also learned that myself. I didn't know that during the PhD, and then took courses and practiced and so on. It's quite effective. And, well, project management, especially Tanya is doing that. And lean startup, how this works. I think we were doing lean startup kind of intuitively. Then it's this no name for it. It's a good approach to starting a business. Yeah, and then our tagline, we are the bond between science and business. This is more or less what we do. And yeah, a second thing is we were exploring options as co-founders also, and we're still open for this kind of project. One project, actually, it was our consulting that then terminated it pretty abruptly. So it just appeared that it was not such a good idea after all. That's also a result. But it was, I think, very positive in the end. Would have been much worse to go ahead. And, yeah, something that Tanya is doing that kind of is emerging is coaching and consulting for job seekers, because many of these things that you do for like business development, also like strategic decisions and sales and communications and these things, they also apply for finding jobs. So you can see it as a sort of business development or sales project or something like that. And seeing it like this, then the same techniques apply actually. And yeah, we do our own projects. That was already mentioned. Last but not least, and this is the thing that we just took online, Furostove. And I think in the next slide, yes, I will just say a few sentences about that, what this is all about. So this is the screenshot of the homepage, as it is online since yesterday. If you're interested, up there is the domain name, furo-stove.de. And we also have a Facebook page, have a YouTube channel. And this is a camping stove that burns wood. And this is not really a new idea, really. There are a product like this on the market, and they're also successful. It's just I've been working on a new combustion process for wood combustion. It's a three-stage process, and the advantage is that you get a very clean flame. It's regulating the mixture between air and fuel and going through a multi-stage combustion process, and it stabilizes the power output. And the real point is that it works without fans or without sensors or anything like this, any complication, but just by inherent feedback effects of the combustion and the special setup of the combustion. It's very simple, actually. And yeah, so we have the R&D more or less done, the real basic research, and now we are starting with marketing and develop that towards a real product that you can buy that is, you know, looking nice and all these nice things. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, just talk to me later or check out our homepage. We'll also keep posting new content on our YouTube channel and on Facebook. So yeah, in case you're interested in that. Yeah. Then continuing with the question, what should I apply for? Am I qualified? Also for me, actually a big question. So my impression is that this PhD experience, not necessarily the exact work, like scientifically, like working on that instrument or answering that scientific question, but the work experience itself translates to many different jobs. And in my case, I did a PhD and then went into product management. I didn't even know what that was before. And it was actually pretty straightforward. I realized later, I've been doing product management during my entire PhD. I was kind of looking to steer this big research project, making decisions in which directions to go, working with a lot of like staff and guest students and different people bringing this together, like different aspects of the work, bringing it together. And yeah, developing also tools and techniques that support this project, like kind of like products actually that support this activity. And so that was then pretty smooth. Yeah, and to my surprise, really, I was really surprised how well that worked in the end. And we have a bit on that on our homepage. There's an article from Lab Codes to Suits. If you go to the homepage, it's linked on the front page. There's a wheel of articles that we have. There's a bit on that, how this can translate. And we also have a self-assessment sheet that helps a bit with maybe finding a kind of surprising option that is maybe not so apparent right now. So you can, if you're interested, just email me. I send it to you. It's a PDF that you can print and then fill out. I'll also send some instructions how that works. So for us, that was quite helpful doing this. This is why I'm saying this now. And yeah, Tanya is really the expert on this kind of activities. Yeah. So another recommendation, this is a job placement firm that actually got me the jobs that I had. They were also the one that proposed the product management option that I really didn't have on my radar. So they're called professionalscientist.de. And yeah, they got me a job offer at Zeiss and also one in Stuttgart. You see, I'm not in Stuttgart, but so I still owe them a bit there. And they specialize in scientists, and they're generally very, very nice. They're different from this usual kind of like not so nice job placement firms that just send CVs and copy paste them in all directions, but they're really, really specialized and work a lot for this. So if you're interested in this, I can really recommend it. I had very good experience there. They're a bit focused in the Stuttgart area, so if you want to stay in Jülich, it's maybe not ideal, but if this is okay, then this may be worth a try. And yeah, then there's the big question, why then return to the research center after doing all these projects and actually moving back from the Darmstadt region here? And the answer is really because we think, Tanya and I, that the research center is really an awesome place to work. It's really, from our experience, good. Yes, you hear people. We hear people complaining how bad the food is. I mean, they've seen nothing yet. I mean, like people didn't taste the food in other canteens, really. There's no reason to complain, and like quite seriously. And I think only here you hear a sentence like, "Oh, we have a spare TEM in the basement." So like the amount of resources and different techniques and tools that are available here is like for us really like a paradise for research. It's great, and also the people. It's nice, especially in my institute, also in Tanya's institute. I mean, that depends individually where you work. Maybe in your institute it's not so nice, but our experience was good. I don't know. The people have to know for themselves. And second point is a bit of a practical one. The projects were developing well. I said we took the homepage online just yesterday. These things, they cost money in the beginning, right? So it's good to have some sort of cash flow. And that was always a bit of a plan B. We had some money to keep going for some time, and then we just look where to get income and see where that takes us. And well, I got a really good job offer in Stuttgart, actually better than the job that I had in Zeiss before. Significantly better. And Tanya got a job offer here at JCNS ESS, and that was really like a dream job. Something, Tanya, you think you wanted to do that all along, actually, a bit. So that was not like an emergency thing, but it was really actually a chance that opened up there, and we always had Jülich a bit on our radar. And so then we chose Jülich. And after moving here, after some time, I just went to my old institute, exploring options, and I just asked, do they have by any chance work to do? Something in that line of work that we do. And they do, and lots actually. And so then I got this job. I now will start soon as a project manager and doing more or less what we also do with Bond Consulting, like keeping product development projects kind of running smoothly and looking at where to invest, like where do you get with the least amount of investment and the shortest time, the best kind of results, the best bang for the buck, so to speak, in terms of capabilities and research and what people need. So this is actually a pretty nice job, and I work part-time, and the other time we continue with the projects. So, and that brings me to the end of my talk. Thank you very much for listening, and I would be happy to answer your questions.